Record. I'm so excited to bring you this call tonight on this topic because I feel like it's something that a lot of you really you're interested in or you need help with. And so we're going to go through tonight how to sell out your challenge group. And I'm going to give you some tips. So if you have any paper, that would be great. You may want to take a little bit of notes. So in the comment section, can you guys let me know how long have you been coaching, and are you running groups with your coach or by yourself? So I'm going to watch the chat section and just kind of look and see. So how long are you coaching, and challenge groups alone or with your coach? Let's see. Okay, so if you're watching the chat section, what you're going to start to see is that a lot of them are, people are saying they're running them with their coach, or they're running them with their upline or other coaches. And I actually really love doing that. I'm in the same boat. A lot of my coaches decide to stay with me and share the responsibility of the group. And I love it for two reasons. Number one, it takes some of the stress off of it for you in regards to content planning. So you guys can share the load. But number two, it really helps to fill up your groups. I find that people like to be a part of a big group. So rather than just having maybe 4 or 5 people in your challenge group, instead you can have 20 or 40 or 60 or whatever. So I love that, and it's really cool for me to see so many of you saying I'm doing that too. Okay, and some of you are just starting out. So what you can do, I would encourage those of you who are just starting out, work with your coach. See how your coach runs the challenge groups. Now, if you can also comment where you're doing your groups in the chat section. So are you running them on Facebook or My Challenge Tracker? That's the Beachbody app. Those of you who work with me know that I have been using the My Challenge Tracker app since it launched. For one of the number one reasons is it allows you to reuse and reschedule your content. Okay, a lot of you are using the app. That makes me happy. Good. I'm not as much of a fan of Facebook groups for the challenge groups, so that's awesome. What I wanted to show you, for those of you who are new, I'm going to do a quick screen share here, and I wanted to show you something cool. Okay, so this is my group that's open right now, and I'm sharing this group with Michelle and Kate. So Kate's in it, Michelle's in it. There are some other coaches in it, but the three of us have kind of taken on the responsibility of posting and commenting. So in this group, I'm going to open it right now, and I'm just going to show you something in case you're brand new and you didn't know that this was an option. So right here, yes, let's see. Okay, so whenever you guys look right here at the group, you can see there's 65 people in it. You can see the posts, the content. But what I want to do is I want to show you the option for scheduled drafts and posts. Okay, so you can access this from the internet. Those of you who are new, you can actually, get on from your desktop and you can schedule your content. Whereas I know some of you who use the app, I can't put content in from the app unless I go mobile. So if I just pulled up mychallengetracker.com on my phone, I can post to it, like schedule, but I can't do that if I'm just in the My Challenge Tracker app. So for those of you who are new to that, I wanted you to know that. But what's cool when you're new, I would really encourage you to ask your coach to make you an admin on the group. The reason being is because you can put people in the group, but also because whatever content gets used in that group, so any posts that are there, they become archived to you. So say I have another group next month and I want to put a post in, I can go down to Post Library, and I can pull posts from any of my challenge groups that I've ever done. So that's so awesome. Look how much content is there. This is stuff that I've been using for a long time. So for those of you who are brand new, I would ask your coach if they can make you a coach admin on a couple of their old challenge groups. It's going to save you from reinventing the wheel. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you were brand new and you didn't know that. I'm going to check the chat section here. It said you can save it to your phone, your home screen as an app. Okay, well, I didn't know that. All right, so now I want to talk to you about content creation once you get there. Okay, so when I say that, here's what I mean. Your first month of coaching, Don't create challenge group content. You'll stress. It's too much work, okay? Your first few months, don't. Just follow your coach's lead. If you're like, no, I absolutely want to run a challenge group and I want to do it by myself, then here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to move my screen because she wants to bounce. If you know anything about little babies, they like to be bounced. So I'm going to bounce and talk. I hope that's okay. But anyways, what you can do if you want to do this by yourself is you can go into the back office and there is a section for challenge group guides, and it basically gives you a generic challenge group. You can go in there and you can schedule all that content and just use that. So for those of you who are like, I just don't know, I'm not an expert yet at nutrition or running groups by myself, I just want you to have that confidence boost that if you need content, it's out there and it's there, okay? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I want to shift gears and I want to talk to you about how to sell it out. So I'm going to grab, I have a prop here. So one of the things that you will do as you go through your coaching career is you figure out, what are you all about? What are you going to be posting about most often in your content? I will tell you that not at this moment, but there are times when I talk a lot about thyroid health. So tonight I'm going to use this as my example. Okay, so I have an autoimmune condition. It's called Hashimoto's disease, the thyroid thing, and it stinks, okay? But anyways, a lot of people have this condition, like tons, like millions of people have Hashimoto's or thyroid trouble. So I talk about that in my posts, and I also, I'm gluten-free because of it. Because of it, it can cause anxiety. There's all these things that are tied to my condition. But whenever I go to do a challenge group on this theme, I sell it out every time. Every single time where I'm like, I'm going to do a thyroid challenge group, I'll sell it out. And what do I mean by that? It's really not any different than a regular challenge group. They're still going to log their workouts. They're still going to be, logging Shakeology. They're still going to be following a meal plan. But I might just suggest that they do gluten-free. And I might share with them my gluten-free meal plan. Or I might talk daily about some thyroid health things that would be beneficial to them. So those are things that I do in a thyroid wellness challenge, okay? But I want you to understand that in order to sell that group out, I have to talk about thyroid health for a good week and a half to 2 weeks leading up to that group to be able to sell it out. So that means that my social media content has to be relevant to that theme. I might post a picture of, there's this weird drink I drink. It's called Stress Away, and it's a magnesium drink. So maybe I'll post a picture of me drinking that and ask if anybody's tried it. But basically what I do leading up to this challenge group is I create engagement and I create conversations so that my followers look at this stuff and they say, hey, me too. I'm going through that, or I have that, or, this is the season of life that I'm in. I could do opposite of this. Instead of a thyroid group, I could do a postpartum group. I could do a pregnancy group. These are all things that I went through. So I would really encourage you to look at your season of life. Maybe you need to do a stress challenge group, a group related around stress. Maybe you need to do one around emotional eating or binge eating. Whatever it is that you feel like you can be passionate about, you're going to run an awesome challenge group if you do that. I will tell you that the groups that I create and that I put out based off of the season of life that I'm in, or the, thing that is happening to me in that moment, those are my favorite challenge groups versus my generic, just, hey, here's the motivation for the day, but really where I can give somebody something that adds value. So I would encourage you, not if you're brand new. If this is week 1 and you're going to run your first challenge group, this isn't the goal for tomorrow. This is the goal for maybe by the end of summer. But I would encourage you to sit down and say, what kind of group could I run that I'm into? And now here's what you may be thinking. How do I come up with that much content, right? How many of you, that's a scary thing to create that much content, a little bit overwhelming, right? For maybe a 30 or a 60-day group. The answer is very simple. Get a book and use the book. There are books out there for clean eating. There's books out there for certain, situational things. Like I have lots of thyroid books, but I did a challenge based off of this. It's called the 30-Day Thyroid Reset Plan. So I got this book and I would just pull tiny little facts out of it. So I would pull it out, and those are the kind of things that I would put in the group for the day. Like, for example, this one talks about essential oils for your thyroid, and I might have a conversation in the challenge group around that. But books are going to be your best friend when it comes to coming up with content. You don't have to make stuff up. You don't have to be an expert. Just get a book on that topic. Kate, I think it was Kate, made a really awesome point. She said, Pinterest can be a lifesaver. Absolutely. There's so many good infographics there, just content, quote content, everything. So I would encourage you to, like I said, when you're ready, just get a book on the topic. Maybe it's clean eating, maybe it's emotional eating, whatever. And it's okay to ask your clients to do like a book read with you. So say, for example, you do a book read on binge eating, and you guys all read it together, and then you kind of talk about it as a group, almost like a book club for your challengers. That's just one more thing that's going to add value. And that's one more thing that you can market, that you're going to be doing this in your challenge group. Same with like a weekly call. You can do a weekly call on topics that you're going to cover in the challenge group. So those are all things that you can do. But here's what has to happen. Okay, so I told you the goal is to sell it out. So number one, you have to be incredibly excited and passionate about whatever the topic is. Number two is you have to create that hype leading up. So if you're going to try to fill a challenge group 2 weeks from now, right, if you're going to start on that Monday, then you need to now stop talking about coaching for a little bit, and you need to go guns a-blazing talking about challenge group stuff. So nutrition, recipes, anything that's based off of what your theme is going to be. So like I said, if I were doing a thyroid group, I might post about that magnesium drink, or, the fact that I do B12 shots at home. Just little things that would create curiosity around the upcoming challenge group. So I would encourage you to do that. So as you're planning out your posts today on Sunday, this week, ask yourself, do my posts correlate to the theme of my challenge group? If the answer is no, then you need to add a little bit in there. If it's yes, then you're on the right track. Now, your posts will have different types of call to actions, meaning that some of your posts will be subtle hints that you're talking about a challenge group, or you're talking about what you do as a coach, whereas others will be very direct, and you'll say, spots are now open in my challenge group that's kicking off on this day. Please drop your email or send me a DM if you're interested. You have to have a mixture of both. And I know that those hard call to actions sometimes feel like, that's salesy. It is, but it's how you get people in your group. Because if you just post kind of sort of call to actions, you will never really get, boom, line up, it's time. So you need that, but you need to do it in a twofold if you're using Instagram. So some of it will be your feed with the direct call to actions. Some of it will be your stories. So on a day that I might have had a slight jab post related to the challenge group, then the story would have the call to action. And then I would flip it. So my stories the next day maybe wouldn't have any call to action for the challenge group, but my feed would. Does this all make sense to you guys? Like how you want to do it? You want to be really, really intentional. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. That was the point of this call. I know it was short and sweet, but honestly, I just really want you to think about how can you make a group that people want to be in, and that make you excited to host, because sometimes as a coach, we get bored. And our challenge groups feel like, I'm just kind of like here going through the motions. But if that's you, if you're like, I'm bored, then I need you to ask yourself, what do you need help with in your life? Do you need to do an elimination diet and you need everyone to do it with you? Or, what is it? So I would just really encourage you guys to start thinking outside the box and to get excited about the groups that you're going to be running. That's the bread and butter. And I know that so many of you are wanting to attract coaches, and the best way to attract them is to get them awesome results. That's how you do it, ladies. That's the secret. Okay. what are you doing for your challenge groups, or what have you done in the past that's worked really well? Those of you who are kind of not new coaches, did you do a theme that you felt like your target market responded well to? You can chat or unmute. Let's see here.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What are we talking? I'm sorry. Can you just repeat the question? You just want to know what's working in the challenge group?
No, like what groups have you ran that you felt like, oh, like everybody was like, how do I apply? How do I be in it? Like how I said, mine was a thyroid one or a postpartum one. Have you done any themes that you felt like everybody wanted in?
I don't know. I felt like when I did my free group that had to do with abs and arms, I thought that was a big deal. I did a gratitude group. I thought people liked, you know, that sort of thing.
Did you do that
I always
in the
think
fall, like around Thanksgiving, or did you just do it at random?
it probably was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had luck with like a stripped one before, like a lose the
I
last.
used to do tons of script groups. I don't do as many now because I find just showing up in the group is really, really key. But I know it is important to have that content. But like you, I like to have that content now in the app. It's so nice to be able to just reschedule that. And don't be afraid to use the challenge guides either that Beachbody provides. I don't always use them word for word unless it's program related, but those have good information about nutrition. They have awesome graphics and, you know, information about the products.
When we do a launch, like say we're going to do the Morning Meltdown launch soon, that challenge group, you'll see us schedule every post from the Beachbody, like the challenge group scheduler. So when we launch, we do that. Anybody else have groups that have went really well for them?
I also think food focused groups with recipes are a big deal. So like when I did the free group with grilling, I think that people really always struggle with food. And so anytime that you can share more recipes, I just had a client ask me if I had crock pot recipes just today. Recipes I think are huge.
Yeah.
So if you focus on food, that could be good.
Yeah, like a summer grilling one, or just summer cocktails and appetizers or whatever. Yeah. Those of you who team up and run your challenge groups, do you guys share content creation, or do you just have your coach making the content and you're just in there to comment? What are you guys doing? A lot of Melissa's coaches, I think they share content. You can unmute if you want to.
We've shared content a couple of times, but lately Melissa's just been making all of the content because she's Brittany doing it basically.
Okay, sounds good. And that's nice because all of you, I assume, are admins on the group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we all can go back and pull from them.
Yeah, cool. So one thing that I want to say that I think is really important when you're putting them all in these groups. So like Michelle and Kate and I have this Summer Slay one, and some of you are in that group. And if you go in and you look at it, you'll see that those of us who are acting as coaches, we try really hard to comment on everybody's posts. And I really, like, there'll be a couple of days where I'll get behind, but I feel like that's so important. So if you're sharing the group with like your upline or somebody else, just make sure that the people in it see you as, a coach, and see you as somebody who's working to help them get the results. Because what happens is they see that you're coaching too, and when they join the team, they feel like they already know you, and they're like, oh, I remember her from the challenge group and her, and it's just more of that community that we're working to build. So I would just give you guys the tip, if you're working as a coach in a group, even if it's not your group, I would just challenge yourself to comment on everybody's posts every day. Not all day long, just set a time, maybe 15 minutes a day, go in and just comment and engage and just give value. It's really helpful. Helps them get results too. You guys need help with anything right now? Do you have questions? It doesn't have to be related to challenge groups, but happy to chat for a minute if you need it. Okay. Melissa said I'm struggling with how long to run the groups. Does anybody else struggle with that? The time of them? Michelle, you look like you're rearing to answer. Answer that. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I remember that too. So I just started talking to people about a new group, and I'm like, the group's going to run for 30 days. But you'll definitely be able to, join the second group so we can continue to work together on your goals, because I don't want them to think, oh, it's 30 days and done or something like that. Mm-hmm. But some people don't really need the group. Honestly, they just want to do it on their own. Mm-hmm. So then they don't show up, and that way you can kind of weed them out. So I guess I always had that problem too. Now I just tend to wing it. I'm like, I'm going to start this group on the 23rd and hopefully get 5 to 10 people in there, and then just see how it goes. But I told them, I said 30 days, then we'll just go from there. And the current group we have is 60 days. Mm-hmm. You could run 1 group a month, or you could run 2 groups a month.
It gets tiring when you start to do 2 and 3. Be careful.
Yeah, I would agree. I would try to have another coach in there with you for sure.
Yeah. Too, like some of them want 2B groups. Like that's where it's a struggle. When somebody wants to do like just a 2B mindset group, and then you have another challenge group that's all fitness, and then you're like, you feel like you do have to keep them separate kind of. At least I felt that way. Same with Ultimate Portion Fix. But I don't know, 2 and 3 get overwhelming. I try to put them all in one. Okay, so checking in with them. I really tell them, I don't know about you, Michelle or Kate or anyone else who's veteran on here, but like the group is where you find me. That's it. Like I hate to say I don't go and track you down, but I let them know the group is where I am. It's where the content is. I really am not very good at reaching out to every single person who's not active in the group. What about you guys? Anybody else?
Well, I was just going through my stories the other day or something on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, what have you been up to? Are you doing a workout program? Because it's somebody who doesn't check in the group. So usually if I just come across them, I'm like, hey, let's catch up. What have you been doing? Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, when I didn't have as many people, not that I have like, boatloads of people, I would try to really follow up because I felt like that's what I had to do. But I pretty much know that I did it on my own, and I checked in with the group because that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be doing that if you don't have to.
Yeah. One thing that's nice to do and easy for you as the coach is like on Sunday nights, sometimes I like to go in and select like my people, like look at your group in the My Challenge Tracker app, see who belongs to you, and then send one like mass email. It's like an email. It goes through the My Challenge Tracker app. It goes to them in the app, but their response comes back to your email. So then I usually ask for like, how's it going? Can I have an update? So that's one way you could do it. So Melissa said, how often do you post about featuring Beachbody products? I think the more the better, truthfully. These people they've already bought from you. So the likelihood of them being a repeat customer is really high, especially if they like they like the program. It's easy to get them on Energize, Recover, Beach Bars, even sometimes sending samples. Like you could say like, hey, who wants to try a beach bar this week? Do a challenge on it. But it's really easy to upsell to existing customers. At least I find that. Let's see. Anything else? I'm just looking here in the chat section. So my sweet spot number, if you're like asking for a number, I really love 45-day groups. I feel like after 45, they start to get boring and I'm over them, and some of them have checked out, whereas 28 and 30 almost feels like we just got started and now I'm just bumping them to another group, and it gets kind of tedious doing that. So I like 45. Like Michelle said, I have a 60-day one right now, and we'll be over it by the end of it. I'm sure of it. All right, not seeing any other comments or chats, so we can get ready to wrap up. I'm going to do another challenge for you guys this week, so I will be posting that tonight for another prize, those of you who are doing that business group with me. If you guys can, make sure that you are engaging on the videos and commenting on the posts. That really helps the other people in the group see it, believe it or not. The more engagement the group has, the more it will show up in the other people's feed who are in our group, and we want everybody to be involved. So if you guys can be interactive, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm so excited that we're all getting the chance to work together. I think it's awesome. So Getting these. Thank you. Let's take a quick group picture, and then I'll put that in our group. You can use it in your stories if you want. So come on back on if you're hiding. Let's see here. Those of you who are muted. All right, let's see. Here we go. They're all coming out of the woodwork. Hi, guys. Awesome. All right, now that everybody's here, let's smile. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. I got it. I will post it, and you can use it. Thanks for your time, ladies. I will see you next Sunday. Have a great night.